try different things, try to look at what behavior is happening, what happened before the behavior, what happened after the behavior. So we call those the ABCs of behavior. The action, what happened before the behavior, what was it, and what was the consequence of it. Does anyone have any questions about that, or you want to go through any examples? We can kind of work together maybe. We have residents here who have different behaviors all the time. Residents who are repetitive, who are always looking for their paycheck, or looking for their pickup, or looking to get out of here. So they have to go, they have to pick up their kids, or they have to get home for supper, and their mom's going to be mad. What do you guys do? You guys do things all the time. Don't be scared to volunteer, because I have to sit up here and talk, so.
Redirect them.
Redirect them? Yep. How do you redirect them? Becky, what are different ways?
Try and get their mind on something else. Or
Yeah. So do you talk to them about different things? You change the subject? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm a resident and I want to find my pickup that's parked out there, I know I parked it out there and I need to get home, what are you going to tell me? How are you going to redirect me? I'm sorry to pick on you, but thanks for volunteering.
Maybe by taking them by the fish, or up by birds, or try to get them interested in anything else.
Okay.
Usually it doesn't work, but it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, I mean, you have to try different things. One thing might not always work, you have to go through the list of things. You can try talking to them about their truck.
If there's an activity going on.
Yep, you can try to redirect them to an activity. But I personally think that the main one I would try is, talking to them about their pickup, ask them what kind of a pickup was it? How long have they been driving? Where do they used to like to drive to? Those types of things. And then once you get that conversation going, then you can maybe say, hey, we have coffee time right now in the dining room. Would you like to go and have a cup of coffee or juice or whatever it is that they like? Or say, we have a fish tank. Do you like to look at fish? Because I could bring you to it and we could go look at them. Things like that. But don't just directly go into trying to, change the subject fast, because, they're not going to forget that that's what they're looking for. So you have to kind of go to where they're feeling, acknowledge it, and then from there, and when you're doing that, you're redirecting them. So you're acknowledging their feelings about their truck. Does anyone else have anything to say? The resident is lonely, they miss their mom maybe. Maybe sometimes you see a resident who used to be a part of activities, all of a sudden they don't want to go anywhere anymore. They want to just stay in their room. We can talk to them about that. Maybe they're feeling lonely. Maybe something happened in the dining room and they're uncomfortable. I can't really see wandering down on the bottom, but I was going to kind of talk a little bit about that, because wandering, when you see that behavior, I think it's often, somebody is trying to find something. Maybe they're looking for the bathroom. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they feel like they need to get out of here and go home, because this isn't their home. Suspicion and delusions, things that we can do to help a resident with that behavior is, when you go into a resident room, you introduce yourself, call them by name, let them know why you're in there, let them know that you're in there to take out their garbage. Don't just walk in there and say, hey, I'm Michelle, you know, how are you doing today? And then walk behind them, take out the garbage and just leave. I mean, half of that was right, but you didn't tell them why you were there. You didn't tell them what you were taking. What they're gonna remember is that somebody came in here, they knew me, they took something. You know? And it doesn't hurt to say, hey, you know, I'm gonna take out your garbage, is that okay? Is it okay if I take out your garbage? Maybe ask first. I think a tough one is the repetition, trying to redirect that behavior. But again, you know, maybe talking to them about it, about their paychecks. You know, when you have Darlis who wants to get paid. You know, and sometimes stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I know one time with Darlis, I made up a form for him to clock in and clock out and keep track of his hours. That worked for a while. I don't know how long, but hey, it worked while I was there anyway. You know, and I'm sure he shortly forgot about it, but I redirected him for a while. He was calm, he was happy to turn it in at the end of the week and then get paid. So, any questions? Any behaviors that you guys see are really challenging? Things in the dining room? Do you have anything to add?
Well, just that sometimes when you're dealing with challenge behaviors, it starts becoming that you start having a behavior because it gets overwhelming,
Right.
it's stressful, that's when
Yes, definitely.
So
you have to be aware of your own body language, your unspoken language, what you're communicating to the resident that you're working with, because when you're frustrated, you're gonna probably rub off that frustration onto the resident, and they're gonna get anxious, they're gonna know that, you know, something is wrong, they're not gonna feel comfortable. Your chances of communicating with them good is not, you know, gonna work very well. And it's hard, you know, I mean, you guys are working with all sorts of residents and you're seeing the same person who you've been trying to redirect your whole shift, you know, who keeps repeating themselves, you keep trying to stop and redirecting them, and eventually, you know, you're tired and you have other people that you're working with too, and it's hard. It's hard. I mean, how often do you stop? I mean, I know I see Darlis in the hallway and I think, you know, when I see people walk by him, it's like, it's not that I think that people are ignoring him. I know I see people stop and try to redirect him all the time. It's hard. So I appreciate what you guys all do, and if I can help out, you know, please let me know. I know he comes to me in Carly's office quite a bit, and other residents do too, and I've had residents who've been having, you know, a lot of behaviors, maybe they've been hitting out aggressive. I've had them come sit in my office with me before. You know, if I can try to help you guys out so you guys can get your work done, just please let me know, okay?
kind of off the subject of behaviors, but I just want to make sure, because there's other departments than nursing in here, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that if you're in, let's say you're in doing some housekeeping in a room, and a resident starts transferring themselves, you know, you're unsure what to do, encourage that resident, if you know that they're not supposed to be up, just to sit, you know, have a seat and I will get somebody. Put the call light on, and then stay with that resident until someone gets there.
Right.
And then another thing is if you're in the room and the resident wants you to give them water, something to eat, and you're not sure, we do have yellow dots by the resident's name when you walk in the room that says if that person's on thickened liquids. So I always, before I would give somebody a drink of water, just make sure that that person doesn't have a yellow dot. And if you are unsure, make sure that you go to the nurse and say, you know, that resident would, and just tell the resident, I'll go get a nurse to come and help you. Those things are, you know, things just to be aware of. And the Cardexes on how we take care of each resident is in their closet. So if you would happen to be there, you know, it's probably better if you get a nurse, but it is there for you to reference if you have a question. That's what I would think.
Yep.
So, Anybody has questions about that?
Okay. Should we go through the quiz?